Welcome to No Borders with Brian and Carrie. What we are discussing today is how we stay, or how you can stay healthy and fit while you are traveling full time, because it's a little tough.
It can be tough. It can be tough, especially for me. For Carrie, it's a little bit easier. I think she's a little more disciplined. But I do have my techniques, I have my strategies, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I would point out just to remember is when you are traveling full time, you're living on the road full time. So it's not like you've gone on vacation. And I think a lot of time people have in their head thinking, well, when I go on vacation, we're eating out, we're not exercising. You're walking a lot, but you're not exercising. You don't really have much of a routine. But really the key thing, you're eating out a lot. And so I think we can all remember the days of coming back from vacation, hopping on that scale. You don't even have to hop on the scale. You just get on the plane and you just know everything feels a little tighter. But you're living life on the road,
You're on
it's
vacation.
different.
You're on vacation, so you're doing vacation things.
Yeah, but we're not.
We're not. That's where I had to train myself. You're not on vacation. Get into some kind of a routine. Do the right things. Eat the right foods.
Right. So that kind of brings us into the first one, and the key thing you got to start with is eating healthy. Now, obviously, you're not going to eat healthy all the time, because when you go to these new locations where we are right now in Oaxaca, Mexico, we're out eating the good Mexican food.
Tacos are healthy.
They're actually not too bad.
They're
Most of the
actually
ones
not
we're getting, I would honestly say the ones back in the States are probably way less healthy than the ones here that are. But, I think that just in general, trying to eat more healthy, being cautious of what you are eating, and part of that for us is eating in. We cook in.
We go to the grocery store. We have that healthy breakfast in the morning, and that kind of launches our day. One thing that I've admittedly cut back on is drinking beer at home. Going to the grocery store, buying all these healthy foods, but grabbing those 6-packs, and then having that occasional beer. Those are just empty calories that I don't need. So I have really cut back on that.
Yeah, and I think that making sure, the other thing that we have really been mindful of, and it's easy when you go into a new country and you go to the grocery store and there's all kinds of new snacks and you want to try them all
kinds of new beers, and
we buy them and then we bring them home and then we end up snacking a lot. And one area where we have really learned is don't do that. Obviously we try the stuff. We're not saying go to another country and don't try the stuff, but don't fill your countertop and cupboards with a ton of snacks, because then you eat them all, and that's when we start to notice we get off track.
Okay, speaking of snacks, now when you go out for the day, when you go on that full day excursion, you're going to want to eat. Take some nuts, take some snacks with you, some healthy snacks with you, so you don't get so hungry that when you do have the opportunity to eat, you just gorge yourself, because it's pretty easy to put down 6 street tacos. I can guarantee you how easy that is. You want to make sure you're eating those healthy snacks throughout the day.
And I think that even if they're not the top end healthy snacks or whatever, just having a snack with you, because I'm one of those people, I can get hangry. And so I know, and I pretty much always am carrying some kind of trail mix in my bag. Brian hears me rustling in there and he kind of perks up and
I'm
he's all excited. He's like, ooh, snacks. But that for me has really avoided us, because I get hungry faster than you do. You get thirsty before me, but I get hungry before you. But if I can reach in my purse and just have a little handful of trail mix, that just keeps me going, and it stops us from having to eat somewhere, and it gets us home, so then we can cook our meal at home. Another key thing to make sure you are doing is drinking plenty of water. This is an area that is so easy to lack in, because you're busy, you're walking around, you're stopping and maybe instead grabbing the beers, and I know all of a sudden Brown will be like, I haven't filled my water bottle in a couple days or whatever, so but so make sure that you are drinking plenty of water. If that means that you have to buy that water, then buy that water. But I know for myself personally, when we have a travel day, which I don't drink a lot of water on a travel day because we never know if we're going to have a restroom available to us, I feel a difference in myself.
Now a lot of these pointers and tips are the same things you might be doing at home, but remember, you're out of routine. You're on the road.
Very much so.
You're doing things far differently than you used to do. So these are just little things that you need to stay on top of, because if you don't, you're going to balloon up. I know I do anyway. So the water thing is something that I remind myself of constantly, and I'm still not nearly as good at it as Carrie is. I fill up on coffee, beer, throughout my day, I don't drink enough water, and that's something I need to be better about.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water. It's always easier when it's a warm climate because you're craving water. Yeah. But, we also purchased some refillable water bottles that have a UV and also a filter on them. And so that has helped tremendously because, if you had forgotten to get water at the store or whatever, we have that bottle. We can just fill it up. I would say this is just one of those elements. It may sound super just like, of course, drink water, but you know what? It's easy to forget.
Okay, now you got to exercise. I know it's not always fun to do, especially when you're not at that home gym or home routine that you're used to doing. There are plenty of YouTube videos that I watch. You can go on those long walks. You got to do something other than just going out, walking and exploring, because we do plenty of that. Mm-hmm. We got to do more than just that.
Yeah, and that I think is the realization. People will say that often to us, well, you guys already walk a lot. The thing with walking, sure, we get our steps in, we get our miles in during the day, but you're not getting your heart rate up unless you're hiking. I mean, we've been in places where you're going up a lot of hills and up a lot of steps, but we're not really doing necessarily like exercise.
Right.
So you do have to work in those other things. One thing that I carry with myself is I always have in my bag, because they take up zero room, is the exercise bands. So you can use those to do some muscle work and everything. But like Brian was saying, the YouTube videos that you can find, these are all free to do. And believe me, you don't need much room to do them. You don't need weights to do them. So all your excuses are kind of gone. So make sure that you are getting plenty of exercise while you're on the road. That's going to keep you healthy.
There are also ways to find gyms in your area, whether you just Google it. Maybe pick the location where you're going to get your accommodations close to that gym, because there are gym memberships that you can get for a week at a time.
Yeah, and we've met couples while we've been traveling that is something that they do everywhere they go. They make sure that they get a gym membership. That isn't something we've necessarily done. I am quite disciplined at home. I always have been as far as for working out. And so I don't feel... I'm more of I always have been an at-home workout person. So, but if you aren't that person, there are plenty of gyms. And it's funny because a lot of the gyms, they're not necessarily like the local gyms. They're chain gyms that you see back in the States. So, not that your membership will work here, but they're going to, point of that being, they're going to be something maybe that you're familiar with.
You'll find something.
Yeah. Another area to focus on, and believe me, I focus on this one a lot, and I wish I was better at it, was to get plenty of sleep. We all know, and especially as you get older, this is more challenging, but when we're not getting, both of us will wake up in the morning, it's like, how did you sleep last night? Not good. Your day, you really struggle that day.
You really do. We do take naps during the day, and I know that doesn't make up for a good 8 hours solid overnight sleep, and it is challenging when you're on the road. You have a different pillow, you have a different bed, things just aren't the same. So that is something that we still, I think, somewhat struggle with to this day.
Yeah, I think that each, we'll be in one location where there's blackout drapes, it's a super quiet location, no noises, the bed is comfortable. Boy, we appreciate those ones, but those are few and far between. One thing to make sure and carry with you is earplugs and an eye mask. Now, the earplugs we haven't had to use as much. We use the eye mask every night. I do. You never know, each place that you're going into, there's going to be different lights, like on the air conditioning unit. There's not going to be blackout drapes, and maybe it's really bright outside, or there's a light outside the window. Just make sure you've done everything to kind of in the best interest to try and get a good night of sleep.
Now, even if you are getting a great night's sleep at night, make sure you're scheduling some downtime, rest, and relax. That's what this whole lifestyle is really meant to be, is to go out, explore the world, but you need to make sure you recharge and relax.
Yeah, we've had a couple situations where we were traveling faster, and at the end of those, we both, for a good month, which sounds really long, but for a month, we were just kind of like, I'm over it. I'm done with the sightseeing. I'm done with the go, go, go. And so now we've learned a lot of balance. We were just talking about this the other day, that by being having the time, having it figured out, it's like we'll go and sightsee one day, and then the next day it's like, not that we're not leaving the house, but we're just chilling at home and doing some work, and you feel okay with it.
You feel okay with it. You're not feeling guilty that you're not out exploring. you're getting your rest.
Right. And it does take scheduling. You can't just say, yeah, we'll schedule that in. I'm not saying you plan out an entire week, but we'll have a day where we're super busy. Maybe we shot a video or we did an excursion and it was a real full day. The next day we just kind of now know.
We now know.
It's now our downtime day and we're going to stay home. There's not huge expectation on either one of us to go.
There are days it starts raining, especially here in Oaxaca in September. Gosh, it's raining out. I guess we're staying home.
Bummer. It almost gives us that real easy excuse where we can't leave. So it's not a bad thing. Now, the next area is maintaining some kind of routine. Now, we may have kind of discussed this a little bit, but this I take more as a mental health thing, because if I don't have a level of routine to my not just day, but my weeks and just schedule in general, I really start to get off track. And so for me, knowing that in the morning we get up, we have our coffee, I work out, we work for a while,
read the news. There's things that we do. It's our morning routine. When you get out of those routines, it's okay to get out of that routine for a day or two because you're doing something new, something fun, something exciting. But long term, make sure you have some type of routine that you're used to doing.
Yeah, and I think that those routines can be seem incredibly boring, but when you think back to your time when you were at home, you had a routine as well. When the weekend came, you didn't just wing it. You probably had some idea, I need to go grocery shopping, I need to get these things done. That's okay to have those. There's a level of comfort that comes with that routine because we're constantly changing accommodations, constantly changing everything. So having those things that we can rely upon as not changing is really important.
Okay, any of us that dream of full-time travel, hitting the road, going out and exploring the world, it's probably not to snowy, wet, cold destinations. It could be if that's your thing, but usually it's somewhere warm and sunny, so you need to make sure you protect that skin. Now that's something that's become a big deal for me. You're going to notice a lot more hats, a lot more sunscreen. The age spots are starting to show up. There's a whole lot I can do about it, but I can protect myself.
Yeah, and I think this is something and this was not good on our part, we didn't take terribly serious at the beginning of our travels. We come from
the beginning of our lives.
Well, we come from a place that was rainy and overcast for a lot of the year, and so we really only had sun in the summer times, and so we didn't have to really think or worry about it. And then we got onto the road and we were just taking the sun in.
Loved it.
And then all of a sudden it was like, we're starting to see it on our skin. And so that was something over really the last year and a half, 2 years that we really started to take seriously, is making sure we have that sun protection.
Spend a lot more money on sunscreen than you think you need to, because there are some high quality sunscreens. Don't be afraid to spend an extra $1 or $2.
So now that you're on the road, you are traveling, sometimes it can be really easy to forget about taking care of yourself also medically. So, it's easy when you're at home, it's that time of year, I need to go in for a well check, or I need to have blood tests, or I need to have whatever done.
Right.
When you're on the road, you still need to have those things done.
Yeah, now we've been lucky. We haven't got any food-borne illnesses or anything like that at all.
If there was wood right now, I'd walk it. We're in Mexico.
We are in Mexico. I don't see any wood nearby, but you get the point. But we did take some precautions early on, and we got our shots.
Yeah, we did when we went into Southeast Asia. We did get some shots that hopefully have helped a little bit with foodborne illnesses. But I think just making sure you're up to date on that, make sure you're getting those well checks done. We've done them on the road. We did well checks when we were in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and had a complete full checkup. But then I also, when we travel home, because I do have insurance back home, I make sure that I'm getting any of those preventative care and well checks done when I'm home. So just make sure that you stay on top of those things. We all want to continue traveling, and the last thing you want is some unexpected illness to come up that you maybe could have prevented.
Now, what about medications and vitamins? Vitamins are a very important deal, especially if you're a female. Your medications, try and get those medications back home to supply you for the length that you're going to be gone for. If you're unable to do that, make sure you have your prescription with you. You can probably get it anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Now that is, like Brian said, the vitamins, in the beginning, I wasn't carrying them with me thinking I could find these anywhere. And then I came to find out that you can typically find them, but they're quite expensive. So now I carry any of the vitamins that I know that I want to take on a daily basis with me when we're traveling. And then, like you were saying, make sure you have those medications or at least have the prescriptions so you can get them filled elsewhere. I just think this is a really key area that you don't want to step over and not take care of, because once again, if you're unhealthy and you are getting sick more often because you're not taking those vitamins, then your traveling is not going to be a whole lot of fun.
You're even bringing this green packaged vegetable stuff now.
I bring a green drink. It's not the one that everybody else talks about. I found a less expensive one at Costco and on Amazon. But I do bring those, especially because of where we are here. There's not a whole lot of greens that you're getting. It's a little bit harder to come by, and so I just feel a little bit better in the morning when I can make up that, and I don't know, it just puts me on right track for the day. It doesn't
look very appetizing.
Honestly, I'm going to be honest, they don't taste great,
gross.
But you feel better about the day when you've drank it.
I'm not doing it.
He's not doing it. Okay, well, we hope that you found this helpful. I know this is a question a lot of people have because it is hard to kind of figure out how you're going to maintain all of that while you are traveling. Now, if you would like to find us on other social networks, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Brian and Carrie. Then you can find us on our website at brianandcarrietravels.com, where we have a lot of free resources that you might want to check out that will help you kind of plan your travels.
You can also join our weekly mailing list where you can get all kinds of tips and tricks about travel. If this video, podcast, did anything for you at all, we would love a thumbs up. We would love for you to subscribe, join the community. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.